to all. Happy Sunday. This is Empress Joy, and I am excited to share some things with you tonight. Tonight's live is about how childhood trauma, especially sexual trauma, is, well, it already has made you into the good girl, right? And how that's holding you back, right? First of all, let me tell you who I am. I am Joy, and many call me Empress Joy. I have been a dominatrix hypnotist for over a decade and am a coach for especially successful women with helping you get past and release the effects of childhood sexual trauma, what that has done for you, even though you have achieved so much in this life, there are still some things that are holding you back and are causing you to be unhappy. So tonight we're going to talk about how that has made you a good girl, right? One of my favorite things to help get women up out of, I will say. It's so interesting, right? This whole world is set up in a way where women are taught that you have to dress a certain way, you have to speak a certain way, certain things aren't ladylike, what it's like to be a good girl, and you, as a powerful, successful, driven, accomplished woman, still deal with these effects, right? Still deal with all of the things that come with being a good girl. We'll get into at least five of those tonight. So stick around for the five ways that you'll already know, right? That you being this good girl and how it's holding you back. And of course, we're going to get you some support around that. So I absolutely know what it's like to be a good girl, to want to be seen in that way, to not embrace the fullness of who I am. And with success, with the freedom that comes with this life, that many of us feel like we don't even have because of all of the safeguards in place to keep us in this box. Oh, hola, hola. All of the safeguards and everything put in place to keep us in this box that we were never meant to be in, it is stifling, right? It is downright, really upsetting. It really puts us in a place where we are not allowing ourselves to be our greatest versions, right? Even to have all of the money, all of the influence, all of the power, all of the things, we still end up trying to fit in this little tiny mold, this little tiny box that we call good girl for what, right? And many of us have realized that that's not doing anything for us. It's not making us happy. It's not making us fulfilled. It's not allowing us to really enjoy life. It's keeping us up at night. It is really, it's some things where, look, I almost cursed. I'm trying to keep it clean for the YouTube, okay? I was gonna say really it's some BS, right? We'll put it like that. So behind all the drive and all the achievements, yes, you have been trying to really keep this mask on so that other people won't see flaws and faults and won't think of you like you're not good enough, right? As you're already thinking of yourself because of these traumas that you're going through. So welcome everybody who's here. I will probably not be acknowledging you right during the live, but afterwards we will come back if there's any questions or comments and to acknowledge and give you all the love back that you're sharing. So I do have my notes here, so I will definitely be using those. So because of this childhood trauma, you will find yourself being lost in your own mind, right? In your own thoughts, in this unshakable fear that you may not even realize is there, right? So the one way that sexual trauma is making you a good girl is you became an overachiever, right? To gain control. Because when you go through trauma, especially one of this magnitude, when you're young, you end up, and I'll tell you from experience, right? You end up in a place where you are trying to get your control back, right? And if you're a good girl, right, then there's nothing that anybody can say bad about you. There is nothing that they can pull out as far as flaws that you might have, right? Because you're not trying to show any of those. Let's be real, right? You don't want to show anybody that you have this full version of who you are, and you're afraid, right? You're still living in that fear of all this time of helping people with hypnosis, being able to help myself with it. I recognized that, yes, I was trying to control things that were out of my control, right? Trying to control other people's thoughts about me, trying to control other people's opinions about me. And that's something that we just can't do, right? As much as you might try, right? It's going to make you continue to strive, to work hard, to continue to try to get these achievements, these accolades. And guess what? That is out of your control, what anybody thinks about you, what anybody opinions that they have. And you may not know this, so let me just let you know, those opinions that they have about you are formed off of the opinions that they have about themselves anyway. Just as the opinions that you have about others are based off of what you feel, what you think about yourself. So it's the same. It's always projection. Trust and believe everything is projection. So you are not going to be able to be in control of other people's thoughts about you, other people's opinions about you. And being a good girl is not going to change that. Because guess what? There's still going to be a flaw to find, right? You're working really hard, keeping yourself in this little tiny box, and there will still be an issue if someone wants to have one. So why, right? But I really want you to check in with yourself and see how that has benefited you and recognize that it probably isn't, right? But you became so driven, right? You wanted to really stay safe, right? That's a lot of what trying to be this good girl is about, is to be safe from these opinions, to be safe from what someone can say about you, to be safe from being put in front. It's like being on stage, right? Not wanting to be seen, but now you're being put on stage where everyone can see your flaws, everyone can see your issues, right? You're not in control of any of that. So you can release that, right? You've pushed hard, you've worked hard, you've overcome challenges, you have been resilient and relentless. That is the only thing that you control. So continue to push forward, of course, but just know that you don't have any control of any of those people. And being a good girl is not keeping you safe like you think it is. And you probably learned that already. So we can release that, right? Okay. So number 2 is you learned how to prioritize others above yourself. Come on, hands up. Hands up if you have lived a life where you have prioritized others, their needs, their values, their wants, their desires. You put all of that above your happiness. And it is part of why you haven't found yourself to the happiness now. But don't worry, stick around, because we're going to make sure that you get what you deserve. And that's some good old happiness and satisfaction why you on this here planet. But it shows up because everyone's depending on you, right? You take care of everyone, and then somehow you leave yourself in the background, right? Your drains. How many times have you taken a moment where you just needed to cry because you were so drained? Everybody needed something from you, and you were the only person who wasn't able to get what you needed from you. That is what being a good girl will get you, right? Waiting on hand and foot. As I said, being a submissive to the world, submitting yourself, right? On bending knee to give everyone, everything they need on a platter. Meanwhile, you're stuck and left hungry, drained, tired, right? Crying at night. No one to really understand what's going on inside of you because they all just see you as a successful sister, right? They're like, you got it all together. Don't worry about her. And we train people on how to treat us. So if you train them to feel like if they need something, they can come to you, guess who's going to be the last person who anybody will come to even check on to see if there is something that you need, right? That's how the good girls live their lives, right? And you don't deserve that. Yes, you went through that trauma. Yes, you have the effects of it, but it is not something that you have to continue to live in, right? And you will not, okay? Number 3, you struggle with boundaries, even though you're the boss in other areas. I know it is such a conundrum, right? That you can go to work, build your business or businesses, and be the boss and be in charge and delegate and really have a ship running and sailing. And I know you do. I already know you do. Look, I am you. You are I. Okay. So I already know. To be able to be in charge in one area and then in many areas to still struggle with having boundaries. It is painful. Okay. It is not just wrong. Okay. It is painful to not have boundaries, to not be able to, and to really set them in place. It's one thing to recognize that you need boundaries. It's another thing to figure out what those boundaries are. And then it's a whole nother thing to put them in place without the fear of thinking that if you put these boundaries in place, that someone is going to have an issue with them. Well, I'm here to tell you, sis, they are likely going to have an issue, especially if you have always been that good girl, that ride or die, that whatever you need, go to her. She won't say no. She's got you no matter what. Yes, they are going to have a problem when you start to put some boundaries in place. And let them. Yes, let them. Just as you deserve to put boundaries in place, you also become an example to show others that they need boundaries too. So yes, initially they might have a problem with it, but you then become the example to show them that they need to put some boundaries in place, because that is a sign of self-love. That is a sign of respect. That is the sign of a boss, right? To be able to say yes when you mean yes, no when you mean no. To be able to say this time is for me, these hours are, and you don't have to give justification. That's a whole nother thing, okay? Thinking that you need to explain yourself. No, you don't need to explain these boundaries. These are for you. You deserve them. No matter what it is that you are doing with this time that you are no longer giving to them, that does not matter. You, okay, are the queen and the center of your universe. Call it self-centered, call it selfish, but you must be selfish before you can be selfless. Or being selfless runs you in the ground. And that will never be the life that you deserve. So yes, those boundaries, they are how you show yourself that you truly love yourself. And as you're healing and transcending this trauma, it is going to be so important that you figure out what these boundaries are that you need to put in place and do just that. I say yes, please do. And I'll help you with that. That's not something that you need to do alone. Okay, so number 4 is feeling guilty or uncomfortable in your own body, right? Now, there are so many different things put out there, especially for women, the way we're supposed to dress, the way we're supposed to carry ourselves. As I said, what a good girl, what's ladylike, all of those things, right? It is so interesting that even when we decide what we're going to wear for the day, right? Have you ever found yourself thinking what someone else is going to think about what you wear? Doesn't matter your body type. You can be any size and still feel uncomfortable with your body, still feel guilty. There are some women with some amazing bodies who feel uncomfortable or guilty even for it, right? Because this good girl ain't supposed to be coming out here with these clothes on or this banging body or showing it off, being proud of it, saying, yes, this is me and here I am, right? That trauma, especially because your body was violated, right? Your power was taken from you. So that can easily, I'm sure, as you're thinking of that now, how that would put you in a place where you would feel like you need to protect something, right? Because it can be taken from you. It has been, right? You already have that unconsciously programmed in you that someone can take away and violate you. So you have to cover up, right? You don't have that comfort that you should have with going out and wearing whatever it is that you want, right? And that's why in our Unleash My Dominatrix platform and Enlightened Dominatrix, it's one of the things I help women with is being able to flaunt what you have, being able to feel comfortable, feel like the sexy, amazing goddess that you are, no matter what you wear, whether that's a cat suit, a low top, a high skirt, whatever it is that you felt was the right thing for you to wear, okay? Was the thing that the way that you wanted to express yourself, you absolutely have every right to express yourself without feeling uncomfortable, without feeling guilty, without feeling like someone's gonna violate you again or take something from you. You know, just think about that. When you were violated and you did go through that trauma, you were a child, right? So it wasn't about the way you were dressed. It wasn't, you weren't even in a place to even set any boundaries, right? You were a good girl, right? But you were a being who was here and put here on this earth to fully express yourself. So that is what we are meant to be doing here. And that trauma can lead to that guilt and you feeling uncomfortable no matter what it is that you're wearing. And we're going to release all of that because you don't deserve to hold on to that shame. You don't deserve to hold on to the uncomfortable feelings or feeling like, yes, people might be staring. You look damn good. Yeah, they're going to stare. Let them. And know that they are staring, a lot of them, because they wish they had the confidence. So instead of wishing and hoping you had the confidence, we're going to move you to a place where you absolutely have the confidence to wear whatever it is that you want and feel amazing in your body. Give yourself those loving words. Speak love into your body. Move as if you are God on earth, because sis, you are. And number 5, you have a deep fear of being fully seen. I absolutely get this too. Now, you're running the show. You're running million, billion-dollar corporations, right? Some for others and some for yourself. And that does not mean that you want to be seen. I was a dominatrix for a long time before I got comfortable with being seen, even showing myself, right? That does not mean that there's not a fear there, that you're not still holding on to, these feelings, that this could be dangerous, right? This could be shameful. There's so many undercover emotions and feelings that are controlling your life because of this shame and putting you in a place where fear is running it. And it really breaks my heart to see so many women walking around in fear of the amazing being that you are in every way, trying to fit into this little good girl box that could never hold you. We see, beautiful, incredible women, Viola Davis and Michelle Obama, and women who speak about, this imposter syndrome and this fear that they've experienced with being seen, with being the fullness of who they are. And I bring up those names only to say that if those powerful, incredible, beautiful women still have these fears, the last thing that I want you to worry about is thinking that you are alone in this. You are absolutely not alone. It takes a lot, especially in a society like this one, to step out and be who you are, to be in your fullness, to express the greatness of who you are, to be okay with somebody saying that whatever, right? Whatever they want to say. I want to give some examples, right? Of the different things that now selfish was one that I know is really, really big, right? And people not stepping into the fullness of who you are, right? Also, just not being able to speak your full truth because you're afraid of what people will say, right? And stepping in front of a camera like this, and trust and believe, I'm going through different levels of this also, where I felt like, I've done this time and time again, where I've helped many people, right? Men and women, highly successful, achieved many, many things, who still have this fear of being seen. And I have gone through this on different levels of different fears of being seen. So you are not alone in any of these things. I just need you to know that you absolutely can move to the other side of it. You absolutely can stand in the fullness of who you are. You absolutely can break outside of that cage, and you deserve it. You absolutely were put here as one of the billions, trillions, limitless expressions of God, of the all, the spirit that lives inside of you came here to live as you, right? As this version, right? Of allness, of oneness, of everything. The power that is flowing through you is so magnificent that showing it, that expressing it, that living in it is just helping you be an example. It is truly an act of love, first for yourself and then for the other expressions who are walking this planet, who are also in fear, especially my sisters, right? There is so much that is teaching us that we have to play small, that we were meant to submit to another being, that we are meant to have this small portion to play in society, that we are supposed to be in the back burner. And we know when we move through these different levels and we achieve different levels of success, that that does not actually get us out of these everlasting, it seems, effects of these traumas that we've already gone through, right? It has layers and layers and layers. And what I want to do is help you get through these layers, to release them, to move past even the healing and transcend to another level where you can have the success, the accolades, but recognize that it does not make you who you are. It does not make you great. You already are, right? It does not make you worthy. You already are worthy. How could you not be? And just because you've gone through something, trust and believe that that now becomes just a part of your story. And now we speak to your victory. Now we speak to the greatness that you are. Now we allow ourselves to be happy, incredibly joyful, excited, in love, right? Setting our boundaries, sticking to them, moving past needing to be seen as a good girl and recognizing that you are a great goddess. And that is all that you can ever be. My good girl, okay? Just playing with you. My great sis, all right? So now that we know the 5 ways, there are definitely ways, and we're going to go deeper into those, especially in the Enlightened Dominatrix Society, about how we can break free from this conditioning, break free from these traps, and fully embody the greatness that you are. First, just while we're here talking about this, is because first we have to recognize these patterns. There's so many things that we don't even recognize are still happening and are still taking place in our life because of these traumas, right? Especially if we feel like we suppress them, we push them all the way down, no one knows about it, we don't talk about it, we haven't thought about it in so long. We may not recognize the patterns that are coming up. One of them, of course, the good girl pattern, right? The good girl conditioning that comes up after we have gone through these traumas, right? So we have to recognize that there are patterns that just naturally comes from that. So even though we suppressed it and we stuffed it all the way down, that does not mean that like the shame, the guilt, the fear are not still running your life, right? So recognizing those patterns is the first step, always, right? Always, always. To bring it to the forefront. I like to say, take it out of the dark and bring it to the light, right? Because we can't do anything with anything that we just keep in the dark, right? That I like to call our unconscious mind, that 88 to 90% of our mind, and the unconscious things that we do, right? The natural, automatic processes that we have going on, we it's already there, right? So we bringing it from the dark to the light with recognizing what that is so we can do something about it, right? Two, reclaiming your voice because it's something that you did not talk about, haven't talked about, thought you left it in the past. It affects you speaking up for yourself. That's why it's hard to make those boundaries. That's why it's hard to say no, right? When you're saying yes, just because you don't want to be seen a certain way. Reclaiming your voice is going to help you move past the effects of these trauma and move into what I like to say your dominatrix energy, right? Which is truly just living in the fullness and embodying all of you unapologetically. It's all it is. Then three, reconnecting with your body, right? Because there's so much shame, guilt, and fear that's been left over from this trauma. We have to take conscious effort to really reconnect with our body. That's something we are absolutely going to be doing on our retreat here in Tulum. You'll learn more about that in a bit. But it's so important that we recognize that we deserve pleasure, that we deserve joy. And this body that we're only going to have at the time that we're on this earth, that we're living this expression of the great oneness, you absolutely deserve pleasure, right? And there are many different ways to reconnect with your body, but what's important is that you are consciously doing that. And I can't wait to help you with that. 4, stop over explaining and trying to prove your worth. As a successful woman, this is, I know, something that we won't call it hard because nothing is hard. It might be new, right? But I'm sure that you have seen that there are times where you can over-explain yourself. And through this time that you have been moving up this ladder and building and achieving and becoming greater and greater, it's a lot of that has been you trying to prove yourself. Well, we're moving past that because to be in the fullness and the greatness of our energy, we have to recognize there is nothing to prove. There is no greater version of you out there. Look around. The hundreds and thousands of people that you have met throughout your life, not a single one of them is a better you than you. So what is it that you need to prove, right? What is it that you are over-explaining? They may not understand you, and how could they? They are not you, right? They are in the perfectness of who they are. And you'll find that as you release that trauma, as you release that guilt, release that shame and transcend it, that over-explaining and over-proving will no longer be a part. And you will catch yourself when you try to get back into that old pattern. I promise you, I have seen it in myself and I can see it in others, right? If there's a simple question that's asked, there should be a very simple answer to that. But somehow you find yourself in a minute-long explanation for why you need to say no. No, there's no need for any of that. And ultimately, it's showing the confidence that you're lacking when you do need to over-explain and try to prove yourself, prove your worth, prove, why you need to say no, that you do have something else to do, and that's why you can't say yes to this. None of it is necessary. And it's showing you that yes, you are still dealing with some of the after effects of this trauma. And that's okay. Again, we have to bring it from the dark to the light so that we can move beyond it and transcend it. So, all of these things, while they're just symptoms, they're just showing you that there is something else that needs to be worked on, and we're going to move past that, right? That's the only way that we can do it, is to know that it's there. It's the only reason why we would do something about it, is because we know that it's there. So there is no shame in that, right? There is no shame in any of this. And promise you, you are not alone in any of it. And the last that we're going to talk about here is recognizing that, yes, that good girl was supposed to keep you safe, right? It was a reaction to what you went through. And no, right? It didn't keep you safe. It didn't make you whole. Didn't make you happy. Didn't give you everything you needed. Yes, it helped you along the way to all the successes that you have achieved. But if you're not happy, then how are you measuring the success that you've achieved, right? How much can you say that you have truly stepped into your power, right? When you are living for the thoughts, the words, the opinions of others, when you are living in a cage, when it's like you have a chain around your neck and you're being pulled, no, you don't deserve that. Just like you are the boss in your work life, in your business life, you stepping fully into your power of all areas of life are what is going to actually allow you to live in happiness and joy, even contentment. There are so many of us who have so many amazing things going for us, but we're not even content inside. Because to the outside world, we look like we have it all together. All of the accomplishments, getting all of the accolades, and still recognizing that there is so much power being left on the table, sometimes just because you don't want to seem like you're too much. A good girl never wants to look like too much or appear to be too much. Yeah, we're moving past all of that because you are powerful. And just like that good girl didn't keep you safe, being the whole unapologetic version of you, you stop looking for safety in others because you've given it to yourself. That's the life you're meant to live. So just to wrap this up, I definitely want to keep these under an hour. I know the last one went a little bit longer than that, so we won't overdo it here. So just for the last thought, I want you to know that you were never broken. You've always been whole. You have always been the perfect version of you. No one else can be that. No one else can tell you how to do that. And if being a good girl is working for you and you're happy and you have it all together, then disregard this message. But if you recognize that there are areas where that good girl has been keeping you in a cage, then please know that there are parts of you that have been waiting and screaming and dying, and you have heard them asking you to stop playing small. And I am asking you to move to a place where you can unapologetically unleash the dominatrix that is inside of you. That is the part of you who will move unapologetically, who will speak unapologetically, who will dress the way that you see fit, that makes you happy. You will move confidently, and that energy and that aura will seep out of you and step into the room even before you do. That is what I want for you. And if that is what you want for yourself, then I want to ask you and encourage you to go to unleashmydominatrix.com, get yourself subscribed on the list to get the information about a powerful, powerful webinar that we will be doing in the next upcoming week, and to help you move into the next level of not just success, but also fulfillment, satisfaction, happiness, and joy in the abundance of ways, just the way that you deserve it, just the way that you were put on this planet to have it, because you, my sister, are the most incredible, perfect version of you. And that had nothing to do with your work, your success, your achievements. And the things that you've gone through cannot stop you from it. You deserve everything that you desire. So unleashmydominatrix.com. I cannot wait to pour love inside of you and help you continue to pour even more of that love into yourself. So with that, I'm going to just check the messages here. Oh, hola, hola. Welcome from Sacramento. I am not sure what that means, but thank you for the comments. May have a bot. Oh, we doing something. We got a bot. Okay. And hello, greetings, greetings, greetings to Cosmic, the Muffin, and Carter Brooks. I thank you for sharing your love. And for now, we will wrap this one up, but I look forward to seeing you. What we're going to start doing is these lives every Sunday. I would like to commit a time for you right now. That time is a little bit shaky, so I will be putting that in the community section. But every Sunday, I will be coming to you with a message, with something that can benefit your life. And for now, I just want you to take a moment to just breathe. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, know that you are perfect, whole, and complete. Nothing can take that away from you. Now is the time to live in all of you and unleash that dominatrix, my good sis. Peace and love.